I'm very careful with my iPhone. I keep it in a case, it even has its own pocket in my purse, and I never let kids play with it. But still, I'm no stranger to that awful heart in my throat feeling I get whenever I drop my iPhone. If you're unlucky and it hits the ground just the right way, you can say bye-bye to that beautiful Retina display. Hi, I'm MJ with iFixit, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the front panel of your iPhone 4. This video is just an overview, so as I repair this phone, I'll try to give you some helpful tips on some of the trickier parts. When you replace the front panel on your iPhone, you'll want to follow the step-by-step instructions in the repair guide on our site. It's not an especially difficult repair, but it is more complicated than replacing the front panel on previous generations of iPhones. For this repair, we're going to need a few tools: a paperclip, a set of plastic opening tools, a Phillips 00 screwdriver, a small flathead screwdriver, both of which are in the 26-piece bit driver kit, a plastic spudger, a replacement front panel, and a screw tray, which isn't totally necessary, but I'd really recommend it because there are a lot of steps and even more screws. As I follow the repair guide on our site, I like to label the compartments with the steps that the screws came from, and this helps keep them organized a lot better. All of these things you can find at iFixit.com. Now, there's a chance that Apple didn't use Phillips screws in your iPhone. Apple has also been using a new 5-pointed tamper-resistant screw, and if your phone has those, you'll want to check out our iPhone 4 Liberation Kit that comes with the driver you will need to get those screws out. Before you begin the repair, you want to make sure that the sleep button is activated and that the phone is powered down. Once both those things are done, you can get started by removing the 2 Phillips 00 screws from down by the dock connector. With those screws removed, this rear panel is just going to slide up, and I will remove it. Now the next step is to remove the battery. There's only one screw to take out, so that's pretty easy. And then I'm going to use my plastic opening tool to disconnect this connector. And once the connector is disconnected, I can use this plastic pull tab to remove the battery, or if there's a lot of adhesive underneath and that's kind of tough, I could use an iPod opening tool to pry up around the edge. Let's try the pull tab. Now I've got the battery out. With the battery out, we're going to move on to removing the SIM card, and for that, I'm going to use my paper clip. There we go. Our next step is to remove the logic board, and that's being held in place by lots of screws and a few cables, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Okay, we're almost there. Before we get to the front panel, we're going to have to remove the speaker enclosure, the vibrator, and several screws and washers that hold the front panel to the steel frame. There are 6 screws on either side of the phone that have some of the smallest washers I've ever seen. So a quick note for reassembling your phone: I like to stand it up on its side like this and then place the washer in place. They're really, really small, so it can get frustrating, but this method has worked the best for me. So now that I've practically filled my screw tray with screws, they're all removed, and I can use my plastic opening tool to start to pry the front panel away from the steel frame. There is some adhesive down by the home button, so don't be surprised when that is a little more stuck than the rest. When you've got that in free, don't just yank these two things apart, because there are some cables that kind of need to gently be derouted. There. It's off. So now we're going to put on our new front panel, and when you're doing this, be careful not to fold or pinch these ribbon cables, because that could damage them, and then there wouldn't be enough slack to reconnect them. When the front panel is installed properly, there should be plenty of slack in these cables, and they should be roughly the same length. Now all that's left for me to do is reassemble this iPhone, and I'm glad I organized these screws in advance, because that might take me a while. Of course, you can find all the parts and tools for this and many other repairs at ifixit.com. And if you run into any problems doing your repairs, there are lots of resources in our iPhone 4 repair manual. Thanks for watching and happy repairing!